Italia!
Milanisti everywhere. Hey, how's it going? It's your hosts from your favorite podcast, Milanistas 360. Hosni and Shane back after a 2 week absence because Shane decided to get drunk last weekend by accident. Um, just
You never have to
because I was
apologize
so
for that, as long as you're having a
yeah,
good time.
man. I was actually. Do you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. I was actually so depressed after the Inter game because I had this whole thing set in my head, right? Because my parents were coming to see me in Kenya, and I was like, it's going to be great because they were going to be here the day of the final. And I had this playbook in my head. It was like, oh, we're all going to go and watch the final, and then hopefully, either beat Real Madrid or Man City, and it was going to be great. And then when that didn't happen, it's just, I was so gutted, man.
Yeah, well, on
Yeah,
that topic, do you remember the plans that we had? Is like,
I
we
know,
at one point we were even talking about. Do you think we should actually check out the tickets to actually try and catch the
I
final?
know, I know, and that's why, right? And the thing is I was thinking, I was like, right, I can max out my credit card. But the thing is maxing out your credit card, right, and making the missus angry is one thing if you actually get to the final, right? If you max out your credit card and then don't go, right, that's, like, it's just way worse. So I was like, yeah, I was lucky we didn't, but, well, we were lucky we didn't. Christ, I mean, look, would you go even if let's say if you bought the ticket, right, and you were like, okay, I'm kind of here now. Would you go as a Man City fan? Because I don't think I could actually look at myself in the mirror if I did, even though
Well,
they're playing Inter.
the thing about Istanbul, and I've been to Istanbul before, and it's a nice place. So I didn't have to go there to watch the game. I mean, we could probably find. I mean, if you were there, we would probably like do a bit of sightseeing or something like that. We wouldn't have to go and watch
That's it.
the game. Let others review that performance or that Man City win.
Yeah. Can you imagine us playing against Man City though? Oh.
You know what I thought would be funny is that if we played against Man City, can you imagine for
Yeah.
some strange reason they had to wear the red and black and we had to wear our away kit?
I know. I know, dude. I know. I think when we were playing the second last time we played Liverpool, didn't we wear the white jersey? The
Yeah,
away
yeah, we did,
jersey,
we
I
did, we
think.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't need to worry about that now, though. To be honest, because look, you know, we got beaten by a better team, unfortunately, and it just happened to be our cross city rivals. But we'll cover that in a bit. Uh, yeah, man. And this is another reason why I didn't want to do the pod. Do you know how shocking we've been in the last couple of weeks?
There'd be too much
It's like,
anger. I think we'll probably
dude,
get like some strike on you from YouTube based on what we would have said after the game.
honestly, dude, it's been horrific, man. Like, I mean, I guess look. Let's start. Do you want to recap the Spezia game?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, for those tuning in, yeah, we have a few games that we wanted to really catch up on. The first one, and something that not to say unexpected. We were in this situation I think about 2 seasons ago where exact same scoreline Spezia turned into Real as I said before the game, Real Spezia Drid, and really
Nice,
whooped us 2-0. The only
nice.
difference I think was that game is that if I could remember, that one we lost to them at home, but in this time we lost to them away during an afternoon game. So a lot of reasons, yeah, and just to speak about one of the big things that happened before the game started is that Pioli decided to do full rotation. So we had our Belgian contingent lining up, not good enough. And keep in mind that Spezia, it's been a bad season. They're fighting, they're fighting to stay up in the league, and we gave them the points that they needed. I mean, Shane, how I know there's another game that you're probably more upset about, but that was bad. Yeah, had we actually won that game, we wouldn't need to bother against the Juve the next
I
game.
know, I know, I know. Like, and look, we'll cover it a bit later. One of the reasons why I'm very upset at this result, and it's not as much this result, it's the state that it left us in. But yeah, man, I know. Look, everyone knows we're really limited without Leao on the pitch, right? But I mean, it's not even. And there was a big amount of rotation there, but Hosni, you know yourself, like I mean, this is a relegation threatened team, and we lost by more than a goal.
No, you could
And
say that we
outside,
played a Sarah B team. I mean, I don't know what is the table now, but are they even staying up?
like, they are. I think they're. Man, I think they're actually. Do you
Barely,
know what?
barely, yeah. No, but
Barely,
they're only
barely hanging in there.
a point ahead of Verona, and but Verona have a game to play. So
I know. I
you
know.
could even say that, yeah, they're pretty much in Serie B if Verona win.
Yeah. Yeah. So is our B team, though. I think our B team would probably have a good go at promotion from Serie B to Serie A, but then they'd fail. You know. Um, I don't like. Oh, there's such a step down in quality when Leo isn't on the pitch. Obviously, everyone knows that because Leo is a beast. He's a monster. But I mean, like, what was there even like? Was there any player that you would actually say escaped criticism in that game? I can't think of a Milan player that escaped criticism.
Yeah, well, I know that we had the our Belgian contingent during the we saw it during the game, but keep in mind that we also had some players that we thought should be quite okay. So we had Diaz, who yeah, they figured him out. I don't know how these teams actually figure out Diaz on this in these games. Is that just essentially lean into him or just shoulder him and he becomes invisible? So Diaz played
It's,
as his number 10.
do you know
Uh,
what's crazy, man? So the Champions League, you're supposed to be playing like the greatest teams around Europe, right? And they haven't figured out Brahim Diaz, and Spezia have. Like, it's like
no,
it's
but
crazy, man.
this is the surprise that we can actually lay upon such teams that maybe in the Champions League, a lot of these clubs they underestimate us because of the Banta era that we've been through.
Hmm.
But in Serie A, no, it's all fair game. They don't care if you're a champion or what. They want the 3 points. So yeah, especially for Diaz, disappointing. Origi and seeing him on the left wing and Rebic as a center forward. That to me was a surprise, a big surprise actually. We've all seen Rebic, right? And he started the season actually playing as center forward, but wasn't Origi actually brought on to play that role? And
He was, he was,
isn't
yeah,
Rebic's preferred position actually on left wing? Not that he'll be
yeah.
better on left wing anyway.
Well, to
I'm
be
not saying
honest, I
that.
I think now this isn't a very hard. So from what I see, the small bit that I seen from Origi, I think he actually suits playing on the wing more so than being a striker, right? But that's not saying that he's good at being on the wing. That's just literally saying as a striker, he's useless. As a winger, he's still bad, but at least he tries to actually run past people and stuff. But I mean, I'd say the writing has to be on the wall there. If we're a really serious team, Origi can't play again for this club. Like it's
But during the game, and you have to admit this, he wasn't actually the worst player.
he wasn't, but the problem is he doesn't have the qualities to. So like a player in his position can change the game,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Because they can go, oh, okay, all right, so set up an assist or get a
and
goal.
keeping in mind his track records when he was in Liverpool, I mean, this should have been easy. It should have.
Yeah, man. I just like and I I know. Look, we don't want to talk about the transfer window because it's just ridiculous. Because we're getting linked to everybody now. I think we're getting linked to Maradona's corpse at this point. But
we need him.
like
Even if he's a corpse, we would need him.
that's it. That's it. Um, no, sorry, that's kind of distasteful. But sorry, bad joke. But yeah, no. So I don't, man. What I don't ever want to see again is a free transfer from Liverpool.
Yeah.
There's a reason Liverpool are. It's not as if it's a free transfer from Man United, who have no idea what they're doing with their playing staff, and they could potentially be letting a good player go. Liverpool are quite efficient when it comes to talent, right? And if they're letting a player go, like Origi, like Firmino, I think as well, and apparently, surprise, surprise, we're linked with Firmino as well. And I don't know how they're going to pay his wages, but they're linked. Like we can't. Some teams you might get away with it, or maybe hey, even dare I say it, Real Madrid, right? Because there's just so much quality at Real, right? That we could get a gem just because there's so much quality there, right?
Yeah. Theo
Uh,
is an example. Yeah.
Teo, right? A good example. But like when it comes to like teams that have common sense and know, you know, how to work with talent, getting a free player isn't a good thing. Because Liverpool have shown this. Because if he was any good, he wouldn't be leaving Liverpool.
Well, you can't have everything. I mean, you, with any player, this happened with the CDK. You're taking a risk.
Mm.
It's just that you want to take like a, crazy blind risk, or you want to take like a calculated risk, and you probably know
Yeah.
whereabouts it's gonna land. I think with Origi, they thought it was a calculated risk, but it turned out it's a crazy risk. They're just gambling.
Yeah. No, no, that was it. Yeah. Yeah. It's like Maldini. I bet you, when the GameStop squeeze happened, I bet you, or GameStop's short squeeze happened. I bet you, like that was like Maldini. He was like, YOLOing in fucking GameStop shares. I think this is kind of that level of degeneracy. Yeah, it's just awful, dude. Awful. Like, and I, and again, we've been saying it all season. We know our depth is shite, right? We know this. It's not a surprise. But like the gap between the first and the B team is just so huge. And the type of football that Pioli plays as
Shane,
well, like
let,
you need good
allow me
players
to
to play.
correct you there. It's not the
Mm,
gap between our first and our B team. It's the
yeah,
gap between our B team and Serie B.
yeah, that's it.
That's how bad it is.
That's it. That's it. Like I mean, and I'm just thinking, right? And I don't want to single out Origi as much because again, CDK is a great example. There's been players that have done nothing all season for us. Um, but I Origi or even CDK the way he's playing now. If I seen them lining up at Spezia or Sampdoria, it wouldn't. I would expect it. Do you know what I mean? In terms of quality, they're not quality players to me.
Okay.
Not yet.
Yeah. On the point of CDK, and we've spoken about CDK quite a bit before, but I want to ask you this because we're coming towards the end of the season. Where do you think it went wrong? Because in the first part of the season, you remember that game against Inter? He wasn't that bad. Yeah, he had that one assist. You could see that he wasn't great, but you could see a little bit, and it seemed like he was about
Yeah.
to get there. But then
Mm.
somehow, the World Cup took over, and everything just turned to shit. So,
I
but
just think
for
it's
you, where do you think it went wrong for him? For
it's
CDK,
just
for Origi?
eh, for Origi. I seriously doubt. From what I've seen, I doubt the quality was ever there.
Okay.
Um, I just think he's kind of one of those lucky players that came up and maybe, scored a couple of clutch goals and he kind of rid on that, so he's kind of riding that hype train for a while. But I just don't see the quality is there. I don't think he's a good footballer. CDK, I think, has the potential to be a brilliant footballer. The problem is his problems are mental. Like, because the way it's one of those, and it's really difficult, especially when you're young. You're trying to do the right thing and it's not working out, and then you're getting frustrated, and then you're making more and more and more mistakes because you're getting more frustrated because you're not. It's it's a mental problem. I don't think sending him on loan is the answer. By the way, I'd
I
really
think we send
just
him alone is in a way is really just giving up on him because The players that
Yeah,
we send out on loan, we have difficulty reintegrating them back.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so I don't think sending him on loan is the answer. I think what they need is, one of these like or sports psychologists to actually come in and kind of just basically, make him grow a pair.
Yeah,
That's essentially what they need to do. And if they did that, right, at the worst, even if he's not scoring goals, at least he's not, he's detrimental to the squad now when he comes on. Like because he's just playing with a lot of resentment, and that's not good. You never want to, I mean, surely why you play football is because you enjoy it, but it looks like he's not anymore, which is very concerning. I just hope that a full, preseason just kind of maybe takes some of the jitters away. Um, Looking likely that Diaz will go back to Real because Real are looking for Premier League money for what's a very inconsistent player. They're looking for 30 million. So if Diaz goes, you know, we have to rely on CDK and your friend Adley.
my
So
best friend.
that's it. Unless they get, what is it, Daichi Kamada from Frankfurt? We
Yeah,
were looking at him as well, but I don't know if that's a huge upgrade myself. Of course, the problem is, the way it's one of these really dodgy things where if you don't watch the league that the player plays in, you don't know anything about it. And the worst thing that you can do is watch YouTube videos of like all their goals and their assists because they look like the best in the world then. But the
true, but
problem is mm,
the bar isn't very high. So all he has to do is just like do two assists,
score a
assists,
goal
and
every
someone kill
five
it.
games.
Yeah,
Score
the
a goal
bar is
every
not high
5 games.
for. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the sort of rut that we're in. Is that for any
Mm.
number 10 to be considered, a success or a revelation, all he needs to do is just score like what 5 goals,
Mm.
maybe like 2 assists. If
Mm.
you're speaking about top four Champions League team standard, that's really bad. But for AC
Mm.
Milan, the club that we
Mm.
all love and support,
It's worse.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the level that we're at, and it definitely needs to change.
Mm. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think this again, and there's no point in talking about it now because it's going to happen in the summer anyway. But I think there's going to be just a huge clear out because there has to be at this point because there's no point in, the players that we have just taking up salary. That's all they're doing. So yeah, but anyway, yeah. So Spezia, we were shocking. We deserved to lose 2-0, and we did, and we were in fifth.
Yeah, we're at fifth at the moment of time, and we next game was actually a Champions League second leg. So yeah, just a little bit about this game, man. I know Shane, you have quite a bit of angry
I do.
emotions towards what we
I do.
actually saw.
Mm,
There's a lot of hype leading up to the game because we were 2-0 down. We've always believed in that, and everyone keeps saying this: the Champions League DNA, the mentality, the fight back. Forget all that; it never happened. So, I mean, there were spurts of what we were trying to do, but guys, it's maybe they had already given up, and this is the problem that we have: is that when everyone celebrates the fact that we are in the semifinals, there, other than the money that you get, actually, there's nothing to celebrate. You haven't won
no, no,
anything.
no, no, no. Don't get me wrong. It's a huge improvement from last year in terms of the Champions League,
Yeah, but
right? So
for
it
a
is.
club of our stature,
I
we
know
need to be
it
thinking
should
of
be the
the
minimum.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
quarterfinals has to be the minimum, like every year. So
and add on top of that is that we played the snakes, our rivals, and essentially all we did was we put the runners up medals around their necks. That's
that
all we
was
did.
it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, because the thing is, right? In a way, it's probably the best thing that happened to this club, right? I'll tell you why. Because you can imagine, so everyone and their mother at this point knows Inter are going to get battered, right? I mean, battered. Like, I mean, can you imagine a Cherby? A Cherby, right, is going against Holland. Like, there is no, I'm, there is no way Inter can win this game. And
It's
but
not
the
just
thing
a
is
Kirby.
they
They
have
have
a
many
higher
confidence.
chance than us of winning it.
Yeah,
So
But it's
we
not
get
just
this
that.
completely destroyed.
It's not just that Cherby. If you look at the Inter's lineup, their first 11, there's nothing to be so impressed about. Yeah, other than
Mhm.
Brozovic, who didn't play against. I don't know if he came on sub, but he didn't start against us in that 1-0.
Isn't he gone in the summer?
I think so.
I think isn't he the guy that's going to PSG?
No, it's not him. It's
You sure it's not
is it
Brozovic?
Skriniar?
Oh, Skriniar, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Skriniar who's going. Yeah, another guy that loves his club.
But loves money
Alec
more.
Kessie. Yeah. Oh, sorry, did I say club? I meant money. Yeah.
No, but did you expect this? I mean, I'm sure we had a chat before the game. Is that you
Mm.
were expecting the fight back? You're expecting to see that. Okay, we might even take it to them. Make it a 2-0 from our side, and see in
Mm.
penalties how it turns out. But yeah, the again, um, go it's clean sheet for them. We didn't do
Mm.
anything, and send them off to the final. That's what's been. You could say the absolute low light. I mean, we can say this, right? The absolute low light of the season is that we lost to Inter, our rivals, in the Champions League.
That's it. And you know what, right? Even though you might be angry, but if they went out, right, and they tried and they tried and they tried and they lost by a goal or something, right? You go, okay, that's annoying, but at the end of the day, right, they went out. But the thing is, though, it shows you like how we don't have another answer for a team if Leao isn't playing, and if
Yeah, but he
Leao's
did
not
play.
fit. No, but he played the second game, but he
Yeah.
wasn't match fit. But the thing is I don't want to use the excuse, oh, because Leao wasn't. You could tell he wasn't match fit, right? But the thing is I don't want to use the excuse of, oh, because Leao wasn't match fit, we lost the game. No, 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 we didn't. We lost the game because we deserved to, because Inter were a better team than we were across the two legs comprehensively. Like there was no contest. But we are so dependent on Leao. Like I think even the team doesn't even try as hard when he's not there. Like it's just because you can tell that there's no spark. A goal isn't coming from anywhere. Um, and even for the second game, I know he was playing, but again, he wasn't match fit, so it was like he still wasn't there essentially. And you could tell, like, I mean, yeah, we just, I mean, people are always talking about, oh, Inter, the owner is running them into the ground. And that's true. I mean, they're lucky they're getting as far as they are in the UCL, right? Because it's probably the only thing keeping the lights on in the San Siro for an Inter game. So, because I'm surprised they can afford the electricity. But, like, even though he's running them into the ground, like you said, Forza balance sheets, right? Him running
As I
that
keep
club into
saying,
the
yeah.
ground. Yeah, as you keep saying, so Forza balance sheets, so we're winning that, right? But, a team that are losing that are destroying us on the pitch.
Yeah, and
So,
this is the big problem that I have about everyone speaking about the finances. I mean, guys, we're tuning into be it in sports or football TV, whatever channel that you watch. Yeah, we're not watching AC
mm,
Milan on Bloomberg TV. Who gives a
no,
shit?
that's it. That's true.
Personally,
That's so
I
true.
honestly don't give a shit about the financial situation. And guess
Mm,
what? When we were winning all the Champions Leagues, Berlusconi, he didn't give a shit as well.
that's
He
it.
was spending left, right, and center, and yeah,
That's
I
it.
guess he was lucky to be an owner in a time whereby FFP didn't exist, but he made the
That,
most of it. This is why we became supporters. We saw the team win. We were very impressed with the players that we bought. Now it
true.
seems that everyone's expectation, sorry to say this, is that we should be the next Sassuolo or Atlanta, and I can't live with that. I want us to be
Yeah,
competing for these
it's
trophies. I want to win. I want to. I want that. What do you call it? The bus parade, yeah, the one that we got at the end of last
that's
season.
it.
That's the
That's
sort
it.
of Milan that I want.
But remember, I said to you, it was a couple of months ago, and I was saying to you, it there's a dangerous thing that Cardinale can do here, which is not to invest in the winter market, because I said this before, the winter transfer market. So he didn't invest in the winter transfer market. Instead, what we seem to get as Milan fans is this carrot and a stick, right? Which is kind of, oh, what the books are in good order. The accounts look great. We're getting in all these new sponsors, and you're going, great, because why? That's why I watch football. I'm
Yeah.
more concerned about the sponsors that you're getting in and how good the books look. This is impressing me, right?
This is
It
why
is.
especially for me, sometimes like wake up. This is why I wake up at 3 a.m. or like 2:30 a.m.
That's it.
to know
That's
what
it.
our money is buying it, right?
That's it. That's why I wake up at 3 a.m. crying. You know, like, like, dude, I just can't. And it's like, yeah, and again, and it's not just Cardinale doing it. There's a couple of times it's happened. I mean, the guy at what's his name? Oh, I can never remember his name. At Tottenham Hotspur, Daniel Levy,
Yeah.
prime example. Always doing it. Oh, our books are great. Okay, but who gives a shit? Spurs haven't won anything in God knows how long. Since probably the early '90s. Um, Arsenal at one point were doing the same thing. They were like, yeah, 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 our books are great, our stadium's paid for, it's great, yeah, but who cares? Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
what have you won? Like
And on top of
since
that, and we spoke
Wenger.
about this, 2 weeks ago.
Mm.
If you want to talk about sustainability, it also has to be the how sustainable you are with your fans, right? I mean, each of these
Right.
wins is, and we spoke about this. It's a recruitment
Correct.
drive. Anyone
Correct.
tuning in maybe doesn't have a club or thinking that okay, I want to get into soccer, I want to get into football. What is it? Whatever it is,
Correct.
let's watch a big game. And Champions League is a big game, right? Especially with the semi-final. And you see
Mm.
a performance like ours. We've essentially done intense recruitment. I'm sure there must be like
Mm.
easily what 10, 20,000 fans per for each one of those games that we played like shit, right? Where they said like, why should I
Correct.
want to support like a shit team?
Correct. And do you think those fans give a shit about balance sheets?
Yeah, they don't. But those fans that are supporting those teams, if you take like myself for example, and I buy jerseys and merchandise,
Mm.
I I am now like their revenue stream, right? In my own way, I'm their revenue stream. How about for those new fans? Yeah, they might start off like young now, but most likely they'll be lifelong supporters, right? Won't they? Like they'll be
Mm.
buying merchandise for the next like 10 years and everything. So
It depends. I mean, because there are a lot of sadistic people out there that like to paint. So I mean, they might just decide, oh, I'll choose the losing team. These guys look completely hopeless. I hate
they
myself.
need
I'll
help.
support these guys. Yeah,
Yeah, well, you believe in the charity. I mean, it's not about just Fondazione Milan
yeah,
helping out the community, but the team itself needs charity, right?
that's it. Hashtag Forza balance sheets. Just that's what it's signed with. Oh man, yeah, it's and I get it, right? I get the sustainability thing, and I do, but I don't think we're not completely dismissing the idea of you can still act sustainably, right? But having a quiet winter transfer window isn't sustainability. That's not sustainability. That's just literally the owner not putting in money and doing his job.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I don't know, man. It's bad. It's bad. I mean, look, I'm hoping Cardinelli might do something magic this transfer window, but I don't think he will. It'll probably just gonna end up getting like a load of free agents that are just like
And,
like
and
that's
that's
probably
the
the way we're gonna
and that's the
roll.
point that I have. Has he ever? Is he known for a guy who's actually willing to support his team, or even what
Mm,
Toulouse from when they got promoted to League One and turn them into
mm,
maybe League One UCL or League One title contenders? No, this is
mm.
not the owner that we have.
That's it. That's it. Like, and I know. See, so what he's looking at is there has to be some idea of sporting success, right?
Hmm.
Because it can't just be because I know like why he bought Milan is he did say it's like I mean the amount of Milan fans worldwide I think it's something close to like
Don't say billion.
It's
I don't think it was a billion.
no, no. I think a realistic number was like 400 or 500 million or something like that. But
Yeah.
that was like people that would say, "Yeah, I'd watch Milan," right? Um, so I mean, he's trying to target those. But the thing is good luck doing that when we're playing in the Europa. Because
Yeah.
even I'm not joking you. If we're playing in the Europa, even if we're in the final, Hosni, I'm not watching it.
Come
It's
on,
a it's
everyone knows you
a,
will.
no, it's a waste of time, dude. It's a complete waste of time. It's literally, do you know one of those things they do at schools now where they give like every kid that takes part a medal, which is ridiculous. You know, it's like, oh, here, as a reward for your failure for not finishing in the top three or whatever, here's a nice shiny medal, right? It's literally the same thing with Europa. It is such a waste of time. Like it's like
Come on, you don't want to
the
see the.
longer that I'm in it, the more triggered I get because it's like, yes, we're
There'll be plenty of
celebrating our
highlights. I've been
failure.
watching the team playing against what FC Astana or what
That's it.
Karabakh of Azerbaijan or.
Rocking out in Moldova or something. No offense to Moldova, great country, but not known for its football, of course. But yeah, like it's. I mean, dude. I mean, like, look, they were playing in Dublin, right? So they was it Shamrock Rovers they played that time.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and they played in
but
Dublin.
that was
Like
the qualifying, I think, right?
it was the qualifying, right? And
Yeah.
you imagine Zlatan Ibrahimovic, right? When he was fit, like, is playing against a guy who's like a carpenter or a plumber. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like this is awful. Like, I can't do it, man. I can't. It's a complete waste of time to me. It's Syria and Champions League. Any other trophy that we're in, unless if the other one is the World Club or the Club World Cup or the
Yeah.
World Club Cup. You know that thing. That's a great one as well. But like most other trophies outside of that just don't interest me.
Well,
Um,
we don't really get to pick and choose. I mean, if we do finish that spot, we're gonna have to play it, and I'm sure
mm.
Pioli is looking to win it.
Well, technically, it depends. We'll talk about this in a minute. But if something strange happens and Juve get magically get their points back again because
Why
Italy,
not,
right?
right?
We can finish in the spots and still not qualify for the UCL, So yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, so that was that. I can't even, like I actually have PTSD about that Inter game. I just want to forget about it.
Well, the next game that we speak about will actually hopefully lift your spirits a little. That was against Sampdoria. Convincing win, 5-1. Uh, Maybe for me,
Mm.
okay, you can't really have everything, but I was a little bit disappointed that we conceded that one goal. But other than that,
How we
commanding.
did, like, yeah, but it's like you said though. So we scored, right? And then they scored, and then it's like you said. I was like, wow,
The
here we
negativity
go.
was creeping back in, right? Like, oh
It
no,
was
we're
coming
fucked
back.
again.
And I was thinking, I was like, oh, this is Coppa Italia. We're getting dumped out by a junk team. Um, no, but like I think overall the performance was. Do you know what? I wouldn't even say the performance was that good. It's just Leao is that good a player.
Not just Leo, Diaz also had I thought an amazing game.
Diaz had a good game. Diaz, Giroud. Funny enough, even though he got a hat trick, I don't think he had to do much. I think he was literally just standing in the box, just waiting for the ball. It's like I don't think Sampdoria know how to defend. It was great. So Giroud definitely got his hat trick, but obviously without Leao on the pitch, I mean, are we even winning that game?
Yeah. Well,
You know?
in terms of the, thinking back to the score, many assists from Liao, and he was, back to his usual magic. But it's
Mm,
we spoke about this before the podcast, Jane. That is a
mm,
game that undoubtedly we should have won. Yeah, that should have been the scoreline. Maybe clean sheet would have been better, but okay, fine. Then that should have been the scoreline because every other team in the league, really takes 3 points away from Sampdoria, and
mm,
we shouldn't have to worry about them.
mm, mm.
But during that game, and okay, that game is, you could say, the first out of three whereby, and I'm thinking back to last season, because last season, do you remember that we didn't make the knockout for the Champions League? and we you get, unfortunately, I think by Inter again, we got clowned out in the Coppa Italia by Inter, and we dropped out of that early. Qu- Quarters of the semifinals, we dropped out of that, and we were essentially playing one game a week, and that
Mm,
took us all the way to the Scudetto.
mm.
Now, for the last two games that we have, Juve and what's the last game that we have?
It's not Lecce, is
Verona,
it?
is it?
It's Verona. It is Verona.
Yeah,
Yeah, Verona. Yeah.
yeah. So that was the first convincing win out of the last three. So my question to you
Mm.
is that based on what you saw during that game, do you think that that is sort of game that gives us momentum to finish strong? And I know that all this Juve things that we will speak about a bit later aside, do we then at the end of the day look at the points and say, fine then, regardless of what happened, we're back in the Champions League on somewhat of a merit. Do you think that that was the game that starts the fire in the team based on what you saw?
I don't think so. Because I think the game that should have started the fire for this team should have been the 4-0 win over Napoli.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but since then we've still had horrific results against very poor teams. Um, Inter excluded. Not saying Inter are a poor team. Inter are a good team, but we we have had poor results after that. So it really just depends on what team shows up. Um, we do have hopefully some hope going into the Juve game. Just, I mean, was it Empoli they were playing in the last? Was it
Yes.
four? Like,
Surprisingly, yeah. I thought that would be an easy 3 points for them, but yeah,
hmm.
they did in Milan. If I can use that language.
I'm not defending Juventus in any shape or form. I hate the club. The fans are deluded for the most part. It's very hard to talk to one with common sense that doesn't talk emotionally, which is very concerning. But when you like, I would feel hard done by if I was a Juventus fan for that game. I'll tell you why. Uh, announcing that your team is going to get, or announcing that a team is going to get docked points, right? Regardless, they completely deserve the points deduction, right?
Mhm.
But announcing it like what was it, an hour before a game?
Yeah,
That's
I
a
mean,
bit, you
mm,
know.
it's strange because we have an ongoing court case during the season. If you know what I'm saying. So they had the points removed, then added. Yeah, so they had the point. So they got points removed. Now it's been added back. Now it's been deducted again. I mean,
Mm.
how many positions do you want them to change during the season? And undoubtedly, if you look at the table, everyone says it. Yeah, all the coaches say it. Like, oh, no, they only look at the next team. They don't care about the table. But everyone else is looking at the table. I'm sure the players do as well.
Yeah, oh no,
Psychologically,
of
there is an
course.
impact.
Yeah, look, put it this way. Do you think, like, the way I'd look at it is if I was a Juventus fan, one, I'd seriously have to rethink my life choices. But after I did that, right, even if I was still a Juventus fan, I'd look at that and I kind of go, yes, right, so we've been fined. But an hour before a game, because Juventus aren't, whatever about Juventus, their football is horrific. It is awful to watch. It's like that joke I said to you about, it's like, oh, if you need to put someone to sleep, the best thing ever is just show them a Juventus game from the last year because it's horrific. The football is awful. It's awful. But that being said, though, the fact that they're so 1 hour before their game they're getting this, they're getting the points taken back off them, um, and then they find that out, and then they go off and they lose to Empoli, right? And they lose comprehensively to Empoli. But there's no way, right? If they waited till an hour after that game, Juventus like it, Juventus wouldn't really. There's no way that they're losing that game the way they did if they lost the game at all.
Yeah.
So I can understand why a Juventus fan will be annoyed because I would be because you can imagine, right? Even if let's just say, right, you know, you were caught doing what they did, right, but you're still a fan at the end of the day. But an hour before the game, that's no longer oh we're punishing. That's more, you know.
Yeah, but
It's just not good. It's not good.
I mean, those are the sort of things is whereby you are they as a club are leaving decisions outside of the pitch, and decisions that affect what they're doing on the pitch, they're leaving outside the pitch. And
Mm.
what can you say? That's the way the world works. I know a lot of people saying that, oh, why don't deduct it at the end? Why deduct it at the during the season? But think about it, yeah. You do these
Mm.
kind of things, you sort of deserve what's happening to you, don't you?
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, the way to look at it is, I can't remember where I read it. I think it was it on Twitter, but it was a Roma fan, and he made a great point. He made the point that Roma had to sell, was it Mo Salah
Mm-hmm.
and Allison, because they were broke, because they had to match up with financial fair play,
Yeah.
which meant that essentially that there was no way that they were going to qualify for the Champions League. Juventus, I dare say, like, I mean, this junk that they were doing, it's like you said, it definitely did give them, it gave them a huge advantage on the pitch. Because if they're not working by the same rules as everyone else
Mm-hmm.
and they're selling junk players for 20 million, no wonder they can afford the likes of, Ronaldo
Wow,
for
page.
what? Yeah, Vlahovic. I mean, so I suppose that is a fair point. And that's another thing as well. Like, this is what I find it hard to reconcile with is, so anytime that you talk to a Juventus fan about it, right? Uh, the first, the worst thing about telling them that they're getting a fine 1 hour before the game is the Juventus fans that are basically living in their own head, right? That are basically saying this is all just a giant conspiracy to keep us out of the Champions League or whatever. Now you're actually giving them fuel for that, right? Because you're actually saying, they're actually giving them, I think more of an example, where they could actually kind of turn around and basically go, oh, we're getting hard done by here, unrightfully so, because apparently, and this seems to be a common theme which I don't understand, but for most Juve fans, cheating isn't the biggest issue. The biggest issue is that you were
Getting caught.
caught cheating, and now you're getting punished. That's concerning. Like, because if someone is like that, it's like, well, where do you draw the line? Because it's like, oh, so if you do something bad and you don't get caught, then it's fine, right?
Yeah, that's what we have
So
lawyers for.
that's it. But that's what I mean, man. It's like I said in the chat there, a couple of days ago. So when it comes to like financial fair play and us, being tight with our money, right? What we should have done is should have gotten in Investcorp, right? Screw having a good scouting network, right? Literally just hire Man City's lawyers and buy everyone.
That's what I've
Like,
been saying. They were
you
not
know,
investing money in the right places.
that's it. Like lawyers, because that's essentially it. Like the Man City. I mean, the Man City defense in the courtroom is better than the one on the pitch.
There you
Like
go.
I mean, if you 117 violations of financial fair play.
maybe maybe the response is that add, add another 100 more just to make it fair.
That's it. That's it. I mean, yeah, you couldn't get us on 117. Throw another 200 if you want. And the worst thing is, but here's the thing, and thank you for bringing up the logo, Husney, right? Because I think it's very apt, right? It was a while back now where this came around when they changed the new logo, but I think it's very apt, right? Because while we might joke about Juventus and their fans who, even though the fans are completely okay with cheating, but it's getting punished for getting cheating, they have a problem with. Um, this looks very bad on the Italian league.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And
I,
it's an
you know,
ongoing issue. This is the problem that I have with such,
mm,
court cases is that it doesn't
mm,
just die there. Yeah, because you got the punishment, you got the deduction. There's like an appeal. The amount of waves that it makes in the media and how it drags in the league is terrible. And yeah, you're right. It's not the first time that
mm.
they've actually been caught doing something, but I
again,
think this punishment is becoming slowly less. Slowly more and more lenient before they got sent to Serie B. Yeah.
well, keep in mind this time, right? Keep in mind this time, they haven't. They've only fined them. Sorry, they've only deducted points for plus Valenza, I believe,
Yeah.
right? But they still haven't sentenced them for incorrectly. Um, what's that thing? Where they
Yeah.
said that they
Inflating.
hadn't played the players in, they
Yeah.
hadn't
Okay.
paid the salaries
The
in
under the
COVID
table
time
payments or
under the
something like
table.
that. Yeah.
So they still have to get sentenced for that. So I think ideally, what I'd really like to see is however many points they are from a relegation place, from let's say however many points they are from, I don't know, 17th place, right? Give them that point deduction with an extra point on top to make sure that they go to Serie B. Because I mean, it's a joke. Like a couple of my personal buddies who don't watch the Italian league, they're all Premier League heads, right?
Yeah.
They said they said like, and they had a point. They were like, whatever. Because again, I'm no fan of the EPL, right? But they said whatever you say about the EPL, there hasn't been anything like this happen there, right? And I did mention the Man City, yeah, 117 counts of financial fair play, and they are winning your league. But when it comes to stuff like this, I mean, they're 100% right. And they were like, it just looks very bad because it makes the whole league look corrupt. Because it's going to make
The
Napoli,
second
who
time.
had for the second time,
Yeah.
it's going to make Napoli look like, and it's a shame. I feel sorry for the Napoli team, right? Forget the fans who haven't shown themselves in for our certain sections of the fans who haven't shown themselves in great light. But the Napoli fans that acted respectfully, they deserve that Serie A win. It was great for them. But the thing is that's been shrouded now by Juventus taking the piss again. You know, and I dare say, man, I dare say what could happen is we don't know what'll happen with the outcome of the deferred salaries that they were supposed to not be paying, right? But if
Yeah.
it's a severe sentence, and imagine, let's just say Juventus get demoted to Serie B, right? What's going to be the bigger story? Inter potentially, say if Inter won the Champions League, right? That's a big story, huge story, right? Juventus get demoted to Serie B in the same year.
When we talk about media, of course, it's got to be the bad headlines. Those are the headlines that sell, right?
Like, it's horrifically bad. It's embarrassing for me because I'm watching a league where this kind of thing happens persistently,
Yeah.
you know? So, and as far as I'm concerned, this might come out in a couple of years' time. I don't care, right? But I think I'll be proven correct. So, the Calciopoli thing,
Yep.
I still think that was going on until relatively recently. I'll tell you why. Remember
Okay.
Pa- Paulo Dybala,
Yeah.
like I think it was during the banter era. It was nil all, and basically the player or the referee played on till what was it, 97 minutes
Ah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah. That
crazy like
game.
that,
Yeah.
and then Dybala scored. Like I mean, that stuff used to happen during Calciopoli time,
Yeah, but it's the
and I,
difference between intentionally giving a team advantage and just pure incompetence. The problem that I have with the league is that I think most of it actually is incompetence.
I, yeah, like I could be wrong here, but are Juventus the only team that's kind of floated on the stock exchange? I would assume they are.
I'll have to check that, but I don't think so.
Yeah, because if they were, you could understand it some way. Because it'd be like a situation where it's like, okay, so they were a football team, but now they're like a business entity just after floating themselves on the stock exchange. So we haven't created rules yet to link the two together, right? But yeah, it's so like I just can't talk. Like for anyone that's laughing about Juventus getting the now, don't get me wrong, I'm laughing at Juventus fans and I'm wondering why I'm trying to figure out where their priorities are. It's like I would much prefer if Milan got caught doing the same thing.
We would never hear the end
uh,
of it.
No, I would never defend him.
Okay, yeah.
I would never defend him because honestly, that is if the team that I support cheats and does so to gain an advantage on the fish, that is unforgivable, and that is something that every fan should be ashamed of.
Sorry,
If
Shane.
event, yeah,
Yeah, just quick one. In response to your question, is that Roma are also listed, so it's two teams, Juve and
wow,
Roma.
Rome is listed as well.
Yeah, they are.
Interesting, interesting. So interesting. So there's no I would have thought that maybe you know like Italy being a functioning country in Europe would have rules around basically looking into the accounts of publicly listed companies. Evidently not. So yeah, this is it's a bad situation, dude. But like it makes the league look so bad.
How about
Honestly,
the upcoming game? I mean, do you think that this has an effect, morale wise on Juve and the fact that we play them next? I mean, both teams are going to need the 3 points, but
you
who
know
do you think
what?
is coming to the game with a better mindset?
I think Milan are, but here's my concern, right? My concern is that even if so I can see Juventus appealing again, right?
Mm.
Specifically, if they appeal, then they'll give them the points back while they're waiting for the appeal to be heard, which
Yeah,
means then that we could basically be bumped back down into fifth.
yeah, you're
So
right.
I don't think finishing fourth is sufficient here. I think we have to finish at least third.
But then it's going to be stretched. We only have 2 games left. I mean, you know, a lot of
That's
it
it.
does actually. Yeah, you're right. A lot does hinge on um, the Atlanta and Inter game. Whatever happens there.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Um, so what do we do, right? How do we plan this? So if Inter win the Champions League, what do we do?
Well, we find a cave or a hole to hide in
I was
for
just
one
about to
year.
say, I'll see if I can dig myself a bunker out in the back garden and just never come out again. At least not for the next year. Only joking. If Inter,
Yeah.
if Inter win it, they win it. I mean, it's no
Well, on
matter
the
who it
serious note, I
is.
guess to anyone watching, if Inter does win it, I think this channel will be on hiatus for next one season because we're probably going
That's
to get
it.
a lot of banter, a lot
That's
of
it.
comments
And
coming in.
rightfully so. Rightfully so. But yeah, we'll see you guys in like 2024. Oh man. No, I yeah, it's but the thing is though, right, is in one way it is positive for the league and I would take it on the chin.
Mhm.
If Inter, Roma and Fiorentina each won the set of European trophies, right? So the Conference League, the Europa and the Champions League, right? If the an Italian team won the three of those, that's very good for the Italian league. That
Yeah,
image,
but the thing
right?
is that
And
it
it
doesn't
might offset the Juventus bullshit just
it,
a bit.
it doesn't immediately translate into the broadcast revenue for the other teams. I don't think it's clear cut. I
Mm,
mean, yes, if they do win it, then credit to them. They played, they
mm,
won it, and they should celebrate. But for the rest of the league, I don't know what is the impact, but I don't believe the impact is as great as it should be, if I can say
mm,
that.
mm,
Because yeah, I mean, let's
yeah,
face it, and inside the group chat that both Shane and I are on, there was some discussion about how much each of the finishing positions get. It's embarrassing, guys, and how can you sustain a big team if you call yourself a big team in a professional sport with those sort of TV revenues? Everyone wants to compare
yeah.
to the Premier League, but we're nowhere close. I mean,
Not
Premier
even.
League, if they have number one, they're number one. Finally, you have to accept it, but the gap is way too huge.
The thing is, though, I think all the Serie A has to do is get a functioning marketing team.
Mhm.
Because if you look at it, all the Premier League did for years in the 90s was basically brainwash people into saying this is the greatest league in the world when it wasn't. It wasn't, right? Like there was way better leagues. I mean, the Italian league used to walk all over it, and on
Yeah.
TV they were still saying the Premier League is the greatest league in the world because we said so. So I mean, that's literally all the Italian marketing team after or for the FIGC or the Serie A or whatever. Just say that the Serie A is the best team or best league in the world. And if you have three Italian teams winning each of the European Cups, there's no better season to start it. Because if you start kind of brainwashing people into this thing, right, then they're going to watch it. There's going to be more revenues, and it's easy to do. I mean, I don't know why they're not doing it. Because literally, I mean, if the Premier League can lie and say that it's the best league in the world now, they can truthfully probably say that. Or, well, let's say over the last maybe decade, they could
Yeah.
truthfully say that. But like for the 10 years that they were saying it in the 90s when it was just complete lies, I mean, why can't the Serie A do the same thing? So,
Like Ola said to me, I think we hope too much from the organization of the league. It needs a lot of improvement, and
mm,
yeah, it needs a lot of changes. But
well,
all
I
we can
mean,
do as a team is do our talking on the pitch. I mean, yeah, money,
that's
everything
it.
aside, for me personally, not
That's
too
it.
much of a concern. But if there's a game,
Mm,
win. That's it.
that's true. I mean, but yeah, dude, we should be looking to be to, I hope, I hope something is telling me that we do need to finish third because I don't like this thing of finishing fourth because we're still just at the mercy of the Italian judicial system. Then, if we finish fourth, it's like Juve could theoretically get their points back. And then here's another thing I'm worried about. Let's say Juve get their points back, right? And we finish in fifth. But then UEFA turn around and say, no, 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 as punishment. So Juve, you can't, go into European competition this year. I would severely doubt because I bet you what UEFA would then do is they would say, no, Italy can only have 3 teams in the Champions League.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. They can say
So
things like that.
because and it would make sense. I would do that as well. The reason being is because you should also punish the league at some point,
Yep.
and they're right to punish the league. I think they really should do. So I think we need to finish third, and I hope Gasperini does us a favor against Inter tonight.
I am sad to say it, but yeah, we actually need Atlanta to win, and that will
That's
actually
it.
take us closer to the third place. That yeah, you're right. That we actually need to
We've
be to feel comfortable.
we've always been best friends with Atlanta. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, well, yeah, it's coming up to the hour mark. Shane, is there anything else that you'd like to, in terms of the comment, just to close this off and really how it looks like towards the last mile and the game that's coming up?
Forza Monza.
Well, Forza every other team, but yeah, for me it's Forza balance sheets, and to everyone else
Forza balance sheets, man.
that be
That's it.
tuning in, yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll hopefully get a better schedule going for next week and be a
We
little bit more
promise we will, guys. Honestly, it took myself and Hosni about the last week to well,
the schedule.
took us 7 days to get out of bed. You know.
But yeah, we appreciate everyone tuning in, and yeah, catch us on Apple Podcasts. Sorry, again, I haven't got around to uploading our episodes, but yeah, Apple Podcasts, Twitter, Instagram, yeah, you can reach us there. And yeah, till then, till the next game, Forza, Milan, and balance sheets.
Forza Milan. See you guys.
Okay, bye everyone.
Italia è finita!